So they hate her. They don't just dislike her. They don't just find her a little bit annoying. They don't just want her out of their business and out of their life. They hate her. Yeah, I'm talking about Ted Sarandos's wife, Nicole Avant, who I have said for some time cannot stand the way that Meghan has used the fact that they have this interracial marriage and that Meghan thinks that's a reason why she can continue to treat Netflix terribly. But it's not just the Sarandos family, it's the Kardashian family. It's the Bezos family.
The most powerful women in American entertainment and media have, one after another, turned against Meghan Markle. Not drifted away, not maintained polite distance, actively turned. The language being used by sources speaking to Alison Boshoff at the Daily Mail is striking in its strength. They hate her. Anna Wintour hates her. Nicole Avant, the wife of Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos, hates her. The Kardashians are over her. Lauren Sanchez was snubbed before the Bezos wedding when Meghan decided she was too trashy to associate with. And the accumulated consequence of these broken relationships is that Harry and Meghan, in the words of one source, have no bridges left to burn. Let me take these relationships one by one, because each of them tells a specific story about how Meghan operates in social and professional contexts, and the pattern that emerges across all of them is both consistent and significant. Anna Wintour first, because she is the most symbolically important. Wintour is the gatekeeper of fashion's highest circle. Her imprimatur matters in a way that very few people's does.
Have once more failed to secure an invitation to the Met Gala. The Montecito duo were also unsurprisingly absent from all events during King Charles's state visit to the US this week. As if to further underline their persona non grata status, even Prince Harry's boyhood friend Guy Pelly was at a White House garden party with his wife this week. Yes, the same teenage tearaway who was by Harry's side when he notoriously dressed up as a Nazi. President Trump only reinforced the Sussex's unpopularity when he remarked to my colleague Robert Hardman that Harry had done too many things to come back to the fold of his family, adding, "That wife of his boy, what's she done to that guy?"
And the specific reason given for Wintour's turn against Meghan is revealing. Meghan pledged her allegiance to Edward Enninful, then the editor of British Vogue, which antagonized Wintour. The fashion world, like most creative industries at senior levels, runs on relationship networks and loyalty signals. By aligning herself publicly and prominently with Enninful, Meghan was communicating a specific allegiance that positioned her against Wintour's network rather than within it. This would not be fatal in itself. Plenty of people navigate fashion politics without having Anna Wintour as an ally. The additional problems reported are more specifically damaging. Sources say Meghan does not pay and never returns things. In the fashion world, this is a basic social and professional obligation. Borrowed clothes are returned. Bills are paid. The people who fail to meet these obligations, who take and do not reciprocate, get a reputation very quickly. And reputations in fashion are shared efficiently across the industry's small and connected senior stratum. The additional observation that Wintour loves the royal family and is a dame, and would have hated how the Sussexes handled their exit from the royal family, adds another dimension. Wintour's relationship with the British monarchy is genuine and has been cultivated over decades. The investiture at which she became a dame was a moment of genuine significance for her. The Sussexes' approach to leaving that institution, the attacks, the interviews, the ongoing public war against the crown, is not something that someone with Wintour's specific relationship to it would view warmly.
The falling out with the very people who could help make a go of things financially. And then we get to the specifics. And this is really great color. So we start with Anna Wintour. Meghan pledged her allegiance to Edward Enninful, which pissed off Anna. So that was, of course, the at-the-time editor of Vogue in the UK. The irony is, she's also now fallen out with Enninful. But the source goes on to say Anna hates her. Meghan doesn't want to pay and never returns things. Also, Anna loves the royal family. She is a dame. Anna would have hated how the Sussexes handled their exit from the firm. Worryingly for Meghan, the famously icy Wintour apparently never forgives or forgets. So even though Meghan's friendship with Enninful is also at an end for reasons which are still unclear, there seems to be no way.
Sources are clear that Wintour never forgives or forgets. And the specific combination of professional grievances, the Enninful allegiance, the unpaid bills, the unreturned items, with the institutional grievance of the Sussex exit from the royal family, appears to have produced the specific quality of negative feeling described. The irony, noted by Boshoff's sources, is that Meghan's friendship with Enninful has also apparently ended. So she sacrificed the Wintour relationship for an Enninful allegiance that no longer exists. She is now, as far as Wintour is concerned, unforgivable, and as far as Enninful is concerned, no longer relevant. The alienation is complete in both directions. Lauren Sanchez is the next case, and it is particularly revealing because of what it shows about Meghan's social calculations and where those calculations went wrong. Sanchez, the partner of Jeff Bezos and a successful television presenter and a helicopter pilot in her own right, represents exactly the kind of California wealth and celebrity adjacency that the Sussex operation was supposed to be integrating into. Being on warm terms with Lauren Sanchez meant being in the Bezos orbit, which meant being connected to one of the most powerful men in the world and to a social circle of extreme wealth and influence. Sanchez apparently made overtures. She invited Meghan to events. She extended the kind of social inclusion that would have opened doors to her world, and Meghan declined. Not because of scheduling conflicts or genuine obligations elsewhere, but because she did not want to be seen with Sanchez.
Meghan was invited to things by Lauren and didn't want to go. She didn't want to be seen with her because she thought she was trashy. Coming from the woman who is more trash than anyone, that is quite something. Then the Kardashians. And the Kardashians, it's a little bit more nuanced. I wouldn't say the hate word with the Kardashians, but certainly are they over Meghan? Absolutely. And Alison Boshoff agrees, saying the Kardashians have had enough of Harry and Meghan. They are over them. If you were trying to make a lifestyle business fly off social media, it would be useful to be friends with the most followed people on the planet. But Kris Jenner hasn't liked a single post on Meghan's Instagram pages since last year.
The specific reported reason she thought she was trashy is extraordinary. The sources are blunt. Coming from the woman who is more trash than anyone, that is quite something. The judgment that Sanchez was too trashy to associate with is a calculation that Meghan made about social hierarchy, about who was worth being seen with and who was not. And the calculation was catastrophically wrong. Not just because Sanchez went on to marry the richest man in the world, but because the social calculation itself was made on the basis of Meghan's perceived status at a moment when that status was already declining. And the rejection of Sanchez's overtures burned a bridge at exactly the moment when the Bezos connection would have been most commercially valuable. Boshoff's source notes that Meghan was invited to the Bezos wedding by Sanchez. The implication is that despite the earlier snub, some social goodwill had survived long enough for the invitation to be extended. But the relationship had been damaged sufficiently by that point that Meghan's presence in the Bezos social circle was no longer a genuine possibility. The window that Sanchez had opened and kept open, despite the initial rejection, has now closed. The Kardashian situation is slightly different in character from the Wintour and Sanchez situations, and the Boshoff reporting reflects this difference. The Kardashians have not developed the quality of active hostility attributed to Wintour or Avant. They are, in the reported language, over Harry and Meghan. They have had enough. They are done.
So does Bella Bajaria, the head of content at Netflix, and Ted. As to why it's said Netflix came to understand the Sussex team were briefing against one of their executives, although it's not clear if that was on anyone's orders. A source says unless someone is of use to them with money or unwavering attention, then the Sussexes always fall out with them. They are worse at dealing with people than they are with business, and that's saying a lot.
This is a cooler form of alienation than hatred, but it is no less commercially significant for being cooler. The Kardashians are the most followed family on social media in the world. Kim Kardashian alone has a reach that dwarfs almost any other individual. And the reported evidence of where things stand, Kris Jenner has not liked a single post on Meghan's Instagram since last year, is a specific and measurable indicator of exactly how over it the Kardashian matriarch, who controls the family's commercial relationships with meticulous attention, considers the Sussex Association. For a lifestyle brand that depends on social media reach, The withdrawal of Kardashian engagement is commercially significant. And it connects to the broader pattern. The people whose social media endorsement and engagement would be most commercially valuable to as ever are precisely the people who have decided, one after another, to disengage. Nicole Avant and the Netflix situation is the most commercially consequential of all the alienated relationships, and Boshoff's reporting on it is the most specific and therefore the most damning. Avant is not just the CEO's wife. She is a politically well-connected figure in her own right, a former U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas, someone whose relationships in California social and political circles matter independently of her marriage. Her opinion of Meghan is therefore not just a personal matter, it shapes the environment in which the Netflix business relationship operates. The specific detail about Bella Bajica, the head of content at Netflix, also hating Meghan, adds a professional dimension to the personal one. If the CEO's wife and the head of content both hold strongly negative views of one of the streamer's contracted talent, the practical implications for how that talent is treated within the organization, which projects get championed, how much creative trust is extended, what the long-term renewal calculation looks like are significant. You do not enthusiastically develop projects for people you hate.
Meghan can't offer the same, especially as King Charles comes to the United States last week and Harry and Meghan are not around anywhere. It's becoming ever more apparent to the people who may have thought maybe if they were close to Harry and Meghan, they could somehow get close to the King Charles and the rest of the royals. But that's obviously just simply not true. And so I think everybody is just sick and tired of Harry and Meghan using them, and Harry and Meghan just really not having the talent, the skills, the ability to back up their word. They're constantly jabbering, constantly talking about how great things are, and taking credit for everybody else's work.
The most explosive detail in the Boshoff piece is the briefing allegation. Sources tell Boshoff that Netflix came to understand the Sussex team were briefing against one of their executives, although it is not clear if that was on anyone's orders. This is the specific allegation that, if true, represents the most fundamental breach of professional trust available. When you have a commercial partnership with someone, briefing against one of their executives to journalists is not a mistake or an oversight. It is a direct attack on the institution you are commercially dependent on. The fact that it happened, if the report is accurate, and that Netflix became aware of it, explains more than anything else why the relationship has been managed the way it has been. The polo drama stuck in development, the creative control removed, the requirement for professional producers to be involved in any project, the downgrade from creative partner to brand attachment. You do not brief against the executives of the company that hold your commercial lifeline. And if you do, you should expect the relationship to deteriorate in exactly the way the Sussex-Netflix relationship has deteriorated. Now let me address William's tax affairs, because the Sunday Times revelation about his £7 million annual income tax bill is significant and deserves careful engagement rather than reflexive defense or reflexive criticism. The transparency demand has been one of the consistent lines of attack on the monarchy from a certain quarter of public opinion. The argument is that public money funds the royal family, and that public funding entitles the public to detailed financial information about how that money is used. This argument has some force. There is a reasonable case for transparency about public spending, and the Duchy of Cornwall arrangements have attracted legitimate scrutiny. The specific revelation, £7 million annually in income tax, placing William in the top 0.002% of British taxpayers, is not what the transparency critics were hoping for. The narrative they have been constructing is of a royal family that benefits from public money while avoiding the tax obligations that apply to everyone else. The revelation that William pays £7 million a year at the 45% top rate, treating his tax affairs in essentially the same way as his father, significantly undermines that narrative. The additional context matters.
The, total lack of perception, lack of self-awareness about where she's really at. I mean, the fact that Meghan Markle destroyed the relationship with Lauren Sanchez and in turn Jeff Bezos because she looked down on Sanchez. She thought Sanchez was trashy. And look, we can have a separate discussion about Lauren Sanchez, right? But Meghan Markle is far trashier. The moves that Meghan Markle is making are far trashier. The desperation that Meghan Markle has to be famous, to make money, is far trashier than Lauren Sanchez. And as a result of that snobbery, Brittany, Meghan Markle has missed out on the invitation to the Met Gala. She didn't get it.
The Duchy of Cornwall exists specifically so that the heir to the throne is not a drain on public funds. It is the mechanism through which the Prince of Wales finances his own activities and those of his household. The criticism that the Duchy charges organizations for use of its land, the army, the NHS, schools, is a legitimate point of scrutiny, and some leases have already been renegotiated. But the underlying principle that land has value and that the Duchy is managed as a professional estate rather than a public charity is not inherently scandalous. Any private landowner charges for use of their property. The question is whether the charges are reasonable, and that is a legitimate ongoing conversation. It does not support the more dramatic narrative of royal corruption that the transparency campaigners have been pursuing. William's decision to allow this information to enter the public domain after years of declining to do so is itself a significant choice. The timing, immediately after the state visit and the anniversary photograph, and the friends of William reporting about the Wales family's strong position, suggests a moment of institutional confidence. William is choosing to be transparent at a moment when transparency serves his interests rather than in response to pressure that forces it. That is a much stronger position than releasing information under duress, and it suggests a strategic intelligence in how the institution is managing its public narrative that has been somewhat under-acknowledged. The reaction from the transparency campaigners confirms what was predicted. It will never be enough. Once the £7 million income tax figure was published, the immediate response was demands for more tax returns, capital gains details, the full accounts of every Duchy transaction. The critics are not interested in transparency as a goal. They are interested in finding the specific piece of information that will provide leverage against the institution. And if the information that emerges is complementary to the institution, as the income tax figure largely is, the demand simply escalates.
I mean, I think that annoyed the heck out of everybody because it's like, you're there, you were happy to get your picture taken. Now you're complaining about a date that's on the royal calendar every year. Like, this should not be a surprise period of time for you. You should be able to know and address it as such. But Harry and Meghan, I think, just don't know how to interact with people. Harry, I think, but on his own would probably be a little bit better just because he is, I think, more charismatic and more fun to be around. But Meghan, she's just proven time and time again what a toxic person she is, how much she can't sort of get with the program, doesn't understand, let's say, the nuances of a situation, like the importance of Lauren Sanchez and how she became the wife of Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world. And that's the thing, Meghan Markle wanted to be a billionaire.
This is the dynamic that William and his advisors have correctly identified. Any transparency you offer is used as the basis for demands for more. The floor of acceptable disclosure keeps rising. And the endpoint of the process, if the process is driven by people who want to dismantle the institution, is not a well understood and fairly scrutinized monarchy. It is a monarchy that has been exhausted by the disclosure process and made permanently vulnerable to whatever criticism the latest set of documents provides. William's £7 million tax bill is not the end of this conversation. It is the beginning of the next phase of it. And how he manages that next phase, whether he continues to make strategic disclosures on his own terms or retreats back to the old model of citing private citizen rights, will be one of the early tests of his institutional leadership. The bigger picture from this week is the one that Boshoff's piece paints. A couple who have systematically alienated every powerful relationship that could have sustained their commercial enterprise, who have done so through a combination of calculation, arrogance, and the fundamental inability to maintain genuine relationships when those relationships require reciprocity rather than extraction. The Wintour relationship burned because of non-payment and enenful allegiance. The Sanchez relationship burned because of a social judgment that was simultaneously wrong about Sanchez and revealing about Meghan. The Kardashian relationship cooled because the Sussex operation took and took and took without offering anything that the Kardashians valued in return. The Netflix relationship deteriorated because someone on the Sussex team apparently briefed against a Netflix executive.
Meghan Markle backed the wrong horse, right? She backed Edward Enninful. But Edward Enninful, actually, he was in New York last week at that gala with King Charles. He's still in those elite circles. But Meghan then fell out with him. So it's like, you can't back one horse in the Vogue Wars, but then fall out with that one when you've already pissed off the other. It's like, oh my God, this is just a total mess.
It really is. And it's a self-created mess by Meghan. I mean, we even see this just in how she treats her staff members. People leave, they're disgruntled, they have PTSD, they're psychologically damaged by their time with her. And of course, this extends to other people.
The pattern is consistent. Every relationship in Meghan's professional and social orbit eventually reaches the same endpoint, the point at which the extraction exceeds the value being offered in return, the point at which the other party decides that the association costs more than it delivers. And at that point, the relationship ends. Sometimes warmly, sometimes coldly, sometimes with the specific quality of hatred that Wintour and Avant have apparently arrived at, but always in the same direction. No bridges left to burn. That is where the reporting has arrived, and the commercial consequences of having no bridges, no powerful social connections, no industry relationships, no celebrity endorsements from people with genuine reach for a lifestyle brand that depends on exactly these things, are severe and direct. As ever is not selling out. The polo drama is not being made. The Netflix relationship is managed by professionals who have been required to supervise the Sussex creative process. And the people who could have made the difference, who could have opened doors and amplified content and lent their credibility to the Sussex brand, have each, for their own specific reasons, decided to exit. Harry and Meghan came to Hollywood with royal titles, a $100 million Netflix deal, and the attention of the world. 5 years later, they have the titles, a diminished Netflix relationship, and the specific quality.
Yep, no, it really was. It really was an absolute disaster. And Brittany, what is so interesting, of course, is that there were also disasters after the state visit last week. The Daily Mail reporting that King Charles now apparently deliberately snubbed Prince Harry during the state dinner speech in front of President Trump. Now, what's interesting about this is that it's been revealed by Robert Hardman. Well, how does Robert Hardman know? He went to the Oval Office to actually speak to Donald Trump after the visit. So I think we're pretty clear
of alienation from the power center of the world they chose to inhabit that no amount of People magazine cover stories can paper over. The machine that converts every genuine moment into content keeps running. But the audience for the content is smaller, the commercial relationships that would amplify it are gone, and the powerful women who were supposed to be the social foundation of the California life have, one after another, decided they want no part of it. Anna hates her, Nicole hates her, the Kardashians are over them, and Lauren Sanchez, who was snubbed for being too trashy, got married to Jeff Bezos and attended the Met Gala. Let me go deeper on what this week's revelations tell us about the specific mechanics of how the Sussex social operation works, because the pattern is more instructive than any individual relationship breakdown. The common thread across every alienated relationship, Wintour, Sanchez, Kardashians, Avant, the Netflix executives, is extraction without reciprocity. Meghan takes. She takes the access, the connections, the social credibility, the commercial opportunities that proximity to these women provides. She does not give back in kind. She does not show up when showing up costs her something. She does not support other people's projects with the same energy she expects for her own. She does not pay for the clothes. She does not return the loans. She does not turn up to events when the event does not serve her immediate commercial purpose.
Look, there's the Carolinas and there's Georgia, and he said a personal favourite, Charleston, and then he alluded to Annapolis, and then he talked about Prince William County in Williamsburg, and we were all waiting, going, and Sussex County. Anyway, it didn't appear. No mention of Harrisburg or Henry, West Virginia. I think there's somewhere called Markle in Indiana, I think, somewhere, but that didn't pop up either. But then I suppose nor did the Andrews Air Force Base.
And I thought it was a really good point, Brittany, and actually something that will have been a dagger to Prince Harry's heart. Don't think Meghan would particularly care, but for Harry, that's his own father.
This is not a new observation. It is consistent with what former staff members have described about working for Meghan, with what royal correspondents who covered the palace period have reported about her interactions with institutional staff, with what independent sources have consistently described about her approach to relationships that she defines as functional rather than personal. The extraction model is her default operating mode, and it has been since the beginning of the Sussex saga. What is new, and what the Boshoff piece documents with unusual specificity, is how completely that model has burned through the available relationships in California. The Hollywood celebrity world is large, but the specific stratum that Meghan was trying to inhabit, the Wintour circle, the Bezos world, the Kardashian reach, the Netflix power structure is actually quite small. Everyone at that level knows everyone else. Reputations travel efficiently. And a reputation for not paying, not returning, not showing up, and briefing against the people who employ you travels fastest of all. The specific allegation that the Sussex team briefed against a Netflix executive is the most professionally damaging element of the Boshoff piece, because it illuminates something fundamental about how the Sussex operation relates to its commercial partners. The relationship with Netflix was supposed to be a partnership, $100 million partnership, in which both sides were supposed to bring things of value to the arrangement. Netflix brought money, platform, and distribution. Harry and Meghan were supposed to bring compelling content and the credibility of their royal story. When the content underperformed, and it consistently underperformed, the balance of the partnership shifted. Netflix was providing money and platform without receiving the commercial return it had projected.
Harry is just on his own, and I think he'll feel that more and more, and he has no one to blame but himself.
Brittany, we had some lovely images over the weekend of Princess Charlotte to mark her 11th birthday, and this seems to be a really lovely new thing that William and Catherine are doing. They also released some video of her, and she was playing cricket, actually. So there is her bowling compared to Prince Louis's cricket skills, which we saw in his birthday video. And then here's the full thing. I mean, it wasn't just the cricket, was it? It showed her love of animals and her love of nature.
In that situation, most commercial partners recalibrate. They reduce their investment, increase their supervision, require greater accountability. This is what Netflix did. Brought in professional producers, removed creative control, required collaboration that the Sussexes had not been required to accept at the beginning. The appropriate response to that recalibration would have been professional accommodation, a recognition that the creative partnership needs to adapt to new commercial realities, a willingness to work within the new framework, and a focus on producing content that justifies the continued relationship. The actual response, if the sources are accurate, was to brief against the Netflix executive who was implementing the new framework. This is the response of someone who believes they should not be subject to accountability, who believes that their position entitles them to extract without delivering, and who responds to attempts at accountability with the only weapon available, reputation damage through media briefing. This is, in its professional context, the equivalent of what the palace bullying complaint described in the institutional context. In both cases, someone with a specific power over Meghan's situation, a Netflix executive managing the relationship, or a palace staffer doing their job, became a target when that power was exercised in ways Meghan found inconvenient. And in both cases, the response was to weaponize Meghan's greater reach and influence, to damage the person who had exercised legitimate authority. The palace bullying complaint was never published, and the palace investigation was never released. The Netflix briefing situation has been reported by Boshoff and attributed to multiple sources. The pattern is the same.
Birthday, I can understand why people are very interested, because it was some really interesting color about what type of young lady she is. Watch this.
Prince William was a fantastic, but the highlight was Princess Charlotte. Prince George was great too. She was so fucking adorable. Like, I cannot
She was a superstar.
express how I don't know, maybe it's because I have 3 girls now. It was
Probably has a little
she was
awesome.
she had fire to her. She was asking questions. It was that was the most electric part of the.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when parents ask their kids to be present, be vocal,
They encourage them to take lead in a conversation.
Such a good parent move.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Just a good meet in the picture and to keep it moving. Now, listen, let them have a moment. Let them feel comfortable in talking to people.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than fucking.
And the consequences are the same. The institution concludes that the relationship is untenable and restructures it toward minimal exposure. Now, let me address the Charlotte dimension that emerged this week, because it provides a genuinely hopeful counterpoint to the Sussex situation and deserves acknowledgement. At a sporting event in the United States, Charlotte apparently had an interaction with American fans that was captured and shared a moment of completely natural, completely genuine warmth and engagement that apparently delighted everyone present. The fans who encountered her described her as adorable, awesome, full of fire and spirit. They were not performing enthusiasm. They were genuinely moved by the interaction. What makes this significant is not just the warmth of the specific moment. It is the quality of that warmth, its specificity, its individuality, its complete absence of the managed quality that characterizes the Sussex content machine's products. Charlotte asking questions, Charlotte showing curiosity, Charlotte being herself in a way that is visible and accessible and entirely unperformative. This is the natural inheritance of parents who have themselves developed exactly these qualities over many years of genuine public engagement. The prediction that Charlotte will eventually become the Princess Royal, the title currently held by her great-aunt Anne, traditionally given to the senior female member of the royal family, is based on exactly this quality. Anne at 70% in the polls, higher than the cancer-fighting king.
Cornwall earnings. This is the report. Prince William pays up to £7 million in income tax a year, it can be revealed. The figure puts the heir to the throne in the top 0.002% of taxpayers in the UK. For years, William has resisted calls to reveal his tax bill, quoting the rights shared by any private citizen. The majority of his income comes from the more than £20 million a year he receives from the Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate of land worth about £1.1 billion bestowed on every heir to the throne since the 14th century. However, he has been under increased pressure over transparency on tax after an investigation by the Sunday Times and Channel 4 dispatches, which revealed that the Duchy of Cornwall and the Duchy of Lancaster, which is awarded to the monarch, makes millions by charging the Army, Navy, NHS and schools to use their land, rivers and seashores.
Anne, who shows up, does the job, never gives interviews about her feelings, and has spent 5 decades building the kind of public trust that is not transferable and cannot be manufactured. Charlotte, showing fire and spirit at a sporting event in America, is demonstrating the early signs of exactly what her great-aunt has spent a lifetime building. That is the future of the monarchy, not the Sussex operation with its fashion platform commissions and its canceled polo dramas and its briefings against Netflix executives. Charlotte at a sporting event being genuinely herself. George, about to go to boarding school, carrying his future with the composure of someone who understands what it means. Louis, 8 years old, jumping into the sea in Cornwall. The Wales family watching Traitors together 3 nights a week. Dogs in the anniversary photograph. This is what the institution actually is when it is operating as it should. Not the performance of purpose, not the extraction machine, just people carrying something that is older than any of them, trying to do it with integrity and with genuine warmth and with the quiet understanding that the covenant requires everything they have.
Yeah, Dan, he'll never reach whatever level they want to. I mean, it's almost a disadvantage to him to start giving some ground because they're just going to ask for more and more and more. I do think it's good that William is transparent in what he is paying to the tax man, but at the same time, like, I look at that whole situation and I think, and you know, they're complaining that he's charging all these organizations, and it's like, well, what do you think another landowner is going to do? They're going to charge them too. Things aren't free. Just because he's a royal and just because he owns the land doesn't mean he has to give them a deal that's pennies on the dollar just to satisfy the critics. That's ridiculous.
The Sussex operation has burned its bridges with the most powerful women in American entertainment. It has alienated the social networks that might have sustained a California lifestyle empire. It has briefed against the people it depends on commercially. And it has done all of this while producing a candle range that sometimes has no wicks, and a jam that was not technically jam, and a lifestyle series that Netflix did not allow them to produce independently. The institution, meanwhile, is generating £7 million annual income tax bills, brilliant speeches to Congress, anniversary photographs that go viral for the right reasons, and a Princess Charlotte who makes American sports fans feel genuinely delighted just by being who she is. The comparison is not flattering to the Sussex version of the monarchy, and the trajectory of the Sussex version declining, the Wales version consolidating, suggests that the comparison will be even less flattering in 5 years than it is today. When William is king and the titles have been addressed and the first look deal has expired and the As Ever brand has either found a sustainable model or concluded that it cannot at that point, what remains of the Sussex commercial proposition and what remains of the relationship that was supposed to sustain it? Anna hates her. Nicole hates her. The Kardashians are done. Lauren Sanchez got married to Jeff Bezos. And Charlotte, 8 years old and full of fire and spirit, is already showing the qualities that will define a future Princess Royal. The future is being built in both California and in Britain. And the futures being built are very different things.